What's happening, everyone? My name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out one of the latest folding e-bikes from SAMEBIKE. So this model looks very similar to all the other cargo e-bikes that we've been seeing on the market lately. So Engwe has a similar bike, Heatway has a similar bike. Pretty much all the brands have something similar looking to this. So of course this folds right here in the middle. The handlebar also folds, so it's easier to store this or carry it, transport it in your car's trunk and stuff like that. So the bike has 20-inch wheels with 4-inch wide tires. We also have a 750-watt motor that's located in the rear wheel there. We have mechanical disc brakes on the front and on the back. We have a front suspension. And the one thing that's different on this bike compared to all the other bikes that I got to try that look similar are these NFC chips that come in the box. So basically, if you wanna power on the bike, you just touch the NFC chip right here. Otherwise, you cannot turn on the bike. I mean, sure, there is a power button here and you can put a code, but if you want to power on the bike and power it off, you just touch the screen here with the NFC chip, and then the bike powers on or off. So it's very convenient having something like this, and well, it's kind of like a protection because nobody's going to be able to just power on the bike and just take off with it. So very convenient having this, and you can also set up your phone to unlock the bike with your phone. So something different than all the other brands. All right, let's start by doing a bit of an unboxing just so I can show you how the bike comes packed in the box and what you have to do to get this ready and on the road. Alright, so the bike comes in a fairly big box as you'd expect, and out of the box you do have to do a bit of an installation. You basically have to put the front wheel together, the front mudguard together, you have to install the handlebar. However, the installation process is fairly easy and it's only going to take you about half an hour. So not difficult at all putting this together. As for the weight of the bike, this has a weight of about 28 kilos. So of course that's not the heaviest or the lightest bike that I tried. But I guess if you're gonna have to climb some stairs with it, it is a bit on the heavy side, so keep that in mind. Since we have the massive tires on the front and of course on the back, and we also have a front suspension. Now the front suspension doesn't have that much travel, about an inch I'm gonna say. So this is basically the same front suspension that we've been seeing on many of these e-bikes. I guess you can't really complain because the bike itself is fairly affordable, so can't really complain. Now, if you do check the manufacturer's website, it says that the bike has dual suspension. So they're referring to the fact that on the seat here we have some springs as well. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call that a dual suspension because we technically just have the front one and we have some springs in the seat. But overall, between the fat tires, that front suspension, and the seat that's very comfy and it has those spring, the ride is indeed very comfortable. You can go over any bumps, you don't really feel anything, so it's nice and smooth. As you've noticed by now, on the front and of course on the back, we have plastic mud guards. Now, these are wide enough so they can protect you from splashing. Now, here it doesn't really rain, so I haven't actually tried the bike in rain, but they do seem like they would protect you from splashing. On the back here we have a rack, so if you want to carry something on the back, you definitely can. And next we are talking about brakes. So these are mechanical disc brakes. Now, nothing really special about this. They do work fairly good for mechanical disc brakes. And since the bike is limited to 25 kilometers an hour, you have plenty of stopping power. Now, I'm assuming that you could unlock the bike so it can go faster, but personally I've left mine as it came from the box. From the box you also get a throttle here that's activated, so you don't necessarily have to pedal, you can just accelerate with the throttle here. And since we have a 750-watt motor, of course, you have plenty of power for pretty much any situation. And next I want to show you a quick recording so you can see how the bike does going uphill. Alright, so next I'm gonna show you a hill climbing test so you can see how the bike handles hills. So I'm in the second gear and assistance level 5, and once this car passes we'll get going. So I'm gonna accelerate the throttle first. So the top speed for this bike is 25 kilometers an hour. I'm assuming you can unlock it, but we'll leave it locked for now. So I'm just going with the throttle at the moment. But the hill is getting quite steep around here. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera. So I'm gonna have to start pedaling somewhere around here because it's obviously slowing down. So I'm still accelerating with the throttle. The speed sensor that we have in this bike is a bit on the slower side, so you do have to pedal a bit before it engages. But overall, if you do pedal, it's fairly easy to go up a hill like this, because obviously we have a 750 watt motor, so plenty of power for pretty much any hill. So I just wanted to show you how the speed sensor works. So it takes it a while to get going once you're pedaling. That's the only downside, but at least you have the throttle here, so you can just accelerate to the throttle whenever you need to. So as you've seen, plenty of power going up hills, and of course that means that riding on a flat surface it won't be a problem at all. Now the battery pack is located in the frame here, so the battery pack is removable. You can easily remove this and take it upstairs to charge it. There are a couple of keys that come in the box, so the battery pack is actually locked in the frame here. Now this is not the largest battery pack, so this is a 13 amp hour battery pack, and the manufacturer says that you can get about 80 kilometers on one charge. Well, realistically, you're gonna get about 35 to 45 kilometers, depending how you ride, where you're riding, how heavy you are, how hot it is outside or how cold it is. So about 35 kilometers, no problem. You can just ride by accelerating with the throttle. So if you don't want to pedal, that's also a possibility. The bike is also equipped with the entry-level Shimano shifting system, and of course shifting gears up and down is done without any problems, and I'm happy that I didn't actually have to adjust that when I took the bike out of the box. On the back and of course on the front we also have lights. Now this is the same light that we've been seeing on a lot of bikes, and this is basically the same rear light that we've been seeing on a lot of e-bikes over the past few years. The lights were good. This is bright enough to be seen during the day, and of course bright enough at night. Moving on to the handlebars. So what I really like about this style of bike is the fact that you can actually adjust the handlebar in height. So you can make it higher or lower. So that's great, because this way you're going to have a nice and straight position, so it's not tiring whenever you're riding. Other than that, the grips here don't seem to move at all. We have the horn. Here we have our plastic brake levers. They do feel a bit cheap. We have our buttons here, and of course in the center we have the screen. Now the screen is visible enough in most situations, but it really depends how the sun kind of hits the screen. In some situations it may be a bit difficult to see, but overall a better screen for this bike when compared to other e-bikes. Plus, as I mentioned earlier, you can just turn on the bike by tapping the NFC chip on the screen. So a big plus if you don't want to carry keys with you or anything like that. You just have this little key, and your bike is also safe from being stolen. Alright, so let me quickly show you how you'd use this bike. So first of all, we have our NFC tag right here, so you can unlock the bike with this or with your phone, or by putting in the code. So to turn on the bike, you basically touch the screen with this, and then the bike turns on. From here we are gonna switch assistance levels. For this test I'm gonna do assistance level 3, and we have the bike in the second gear. So you can start in a couple of ways. We have the throttle here, so you can just accelerate to the throttle. Let me show you how that works. So that's simple. Or you can just start pedaling and the bike will start assisting you. So the bike is equipped with a speed sensor, but this speed sensor is a bit on the slower side to react. I guess it's better this way because it gradually gives you power, but depends what bike you're used to. You may like that more or not, because some bikes do tend to give you power quite fast, let's call it. So when you stop pedaling, the bike will basically stop assisting you, and then you start pedaling again, and then the bike starts assisting you again. But if you don't want to pedal, of course you have the throttle here, so nice and easy. So let's go in assistance level 5. We'll do a brake test somewhere around here from 25 kilometers an hour. So the brakes work okay for mechanical disc brakes, nothing special. We'll do another brake test here. So alright, I guess. The bike is also fairly comfortable. That has to do with the big tires, of course, the fact that we have those springs in the seat and that front suspension, and I'm also happy that the bike doesn't actually make any noise. So that's it. This is how you'd use this bike. Very easy, nothing special. The only thing I'm not a big fan of is how slow the speed sensor on this bike reacts. I kind of want a bit more power sooner, if that makes sense. But other than that, the bike does ride quite well. So to quickly conclude this video, for its price, it's hard to say anything bad about this bike, because for its price, it does offer really good value. Now, of course, it would have been nice to see hydraulic disc brakes on it, or a better front suspension, maybe a rear suspension, but the price would also be higher. For what it has to offer, I think it's a decent bike. It does ride well, it is built very well, so I can't really say anything bad about this bike. So if you're looking for a cargo e-bike that's also foldable, this is definitely one that you should consider. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.